Yes. Okay, here we are. Uh, and here you are. Thank you so much for still being here, still being awake. And thank you so much for inviting me also. Because before I start, I've been listening to all of you and I've been walking around here for 1.5 days now. And I got so inspired that I decided to throw away the talk that I had. Because I came here to talk about Deep, the virtual reality meditation game that I'm making together with Owen. But after listening to some of the things that are happening here in other fields and things that people are working with, I realized that most of the stuff I do has a lot of overlap. So now I just want to take you guys through this sort of journey of what I've been doing, and hopefully that's interesting to you. So hey, I'm Niki. I'm a game designer, visual artist, and co-founder of Monobanda Play. And Monobanda Play is, we're an art collective, and we are working towards a more holistic view of game design. What do we mean by that? So, we call ourselves game designers, but actually we're more like play designers, and there's a fundamental difference between games and play. Because games are, like we heard earlier in another talk, games are about existing within a rule set, and play can be totally free. Play is about, jumping up and down in the leaves, about standing on a mountaintop and screaming. Play is flirting. Play is making music together. We like to sum it up by saying play is about being in the moment with all of your human being. So it is about your whole body, and it's about not the goal where you go to, but the moment that you are in. So I want to take you through some of my earlier projects that I did, like my really old ones. And the first one is Mimicry in 2001. And with Mimicry, we decided we wanted to make something that embodies this whole sort of playful philosophy that we have. So it had to be tangible, it had to be something that feels nice, but it also had to be about social play and freedom. So we wanted to create something where people play together and also make up their own rules. So we don't do it for them. We are not the game designers. The players are the game designers. So, run the movie. So what we did is we filled a box with sand, hang a Microsoft Kinect above it. Thank you so much for Microsoft for opening up a totally new world of art. And we projected light on top of it. And because there's a Microsoft Kinect there, we know where the sand is. We can translate it in a virtual world right away, and we can play with it. So we gave this to players to just play in. There wasn't any goal of you have to make this and this. We hoped that players would make their own goals. And they did. So some players would make racetracks, while other players would write their name in the sand, and then had the players in the game flying over the sand to read out their names without looking at the sandbox. So, stop. So for us, that really exemplified the power of togetherness. If you're with other people in the same context, interesting things happen. And our project that we made a little later in 2013 was about that togetherness. It's about social space. So it's a game where we just use very simple Samsung phones. We put them in helmets. We hung a webcam on the wall and made the webcam send live footage to the phones. So what happens then is, is that you get this really weird experience, a sort of out-of-body experience. Your eyes are no longer in your body, your eyes are on the wall, and you see yourself from a distance. So this changes the sense of self. It rudimentally changes the way you feel, how you walk. Walking is difficult again. And you need to find yourself again. So I'm not showing the whole trailer. You can find that on the website later. But what happened there is two things. Firstly, it was very important to us that we made something that made people reevaluate their body in a new way. Because it was like a video game, like, oh, who is this person I see from a distance? I'm trying to learn to walk again. But secondly, it was also about social space. Because what we noticed is that people have a sense of anonymity with the helmets on, and also a sense of being a performer, because they see themselves from a distance. They are no longer themselves, they see themselves. So people started to touch each other. Even people that do not know each other in a museum setting would come over to each other and like touch each other. Which is very interesting to see that we could break social boundaries in such an easy way with a very simple sort of intervention. And while we are making these kind of things in the Netherlands, Owen Harris in Ireland was making VR. And then I met Owen. And Owen introduced me to VR. And we started working on Deep. So, like you already heard, Deep is an underwater VR experience that is controlled by breathing. But more than that, Owen introduced us to this whole concept of VR. And it fitted our philosophy and our research sort of arc beautifully. We can show a movie of Deep here for a little while. So, because I said I'm also the visual designer of it, let's show some of the latest footage where we at now. When you breathe in, you go up, and when you breathe out, you sink down again. And of course, the whole world lights up to your breathing to sort of reinforce that feeling that you and the world are one. Again, I'm not showing the whole movie. But for us it came to a very important discovery, and that is, and I'm so surprised that I hear so little people talking about this. But VR for us is a body medium. It is maybe the first medium ever where we're no longer outsiders looking in. We are in there. So with every medium until now, we had to use our empathy and our fantasy to look in. There was always the edges of a book, the edges of a stage play, the edges of a TV screen to go through, to transport ourselves through. But with VR, we feel like our body is in there. And that has like really sort of embodiment implications for what we're doing. So for me, this is not an extension of games, it's not an extension of film. If anything, it's more an extension of theater. For the first time, we bring our body into the narrative. So we've been trying to make, not only with Deep, but also with other VR experiences, we've been trying to find out that whole sort of body VR connection, like when something in VR touches you here, do you feel it? How can we invoke that? And what can we do with it? But first I want to go really down to the nitty-gritty and talk about, I want to share some of the insights of what we learned while making Deep. And one of the most important things for me, as also the one that makes all the walks, is that we had to learn the player, it's okay, you are doing things right. So in the first map that I made, within a minute, people would take off the helmet and ask like, I think I'm lost. Am I going in the right direction? Am I doing it right? Because what I realized is that most people are looking for a goal. Most people are looking for purpose. So we had to give them something, but at the same time, this is a game about relaxing, not about achieving goals or going there. You know, there's no finish line. So what are we going to do? So I got inspired. I like to walk a lot, and at least in the Netherlands, you know, on a lot of those nature trails, you have those little poles to let you know that you're going in the right direction and you're not lost. And for me, that's what it's about. The difference and the tension between feeling lost or wandering. We all like to wander, but when you wander, you are in control. So I needed to have the players feel like they're in control, because they could only relax when they were in control. So I did it very simple. I just made sure that there's always a next interesting glowing thing on the horizon to go to. And that was enough for them. Then they have the feeling like, oh, I myself choose to go there, and I feel in control because I choose to go there. Well, yeah, no, I placed it there for you, but still. So here's an example. Like the moment I placed that orb there, you know, you can see it. What would you do? Like, it feels like more safe, right? So that was a very important insight that I use in my design as almost on a sort of architectural level. The third insight, everybody is different, and that space is not a typo. Because with a normal game, when you push the button, you know what happens, because it's a button. So you push the button and Mario jumps. But our controller is human breath. So some people breathe very shallowly, and other people breathe very deeply. So again, in the first level that I made this beautiful ravine for people to go through. And almost all people would just soar over it. They would fly far too high. And I was like, huh, okay, I need to put something here for other people. So I had to learn to find a way to make a sort of spatial composition that is interesting for all people, no matter what their breathing rhythm or breathing power is. Insight 4, and this is a very, very important one for us at Monobanda, is finding the right context. For me, the most important thing what happened with Deep was when we met behavioral scientists. The moment we started to work together with professionals of other fields, not only did we learn a lot, but what we did also improved and got more focus. Because we're just game designers, we don't know everything. Like there's experts in other fields. So I learned from that, and I now try to be open in all our projects to openly ask around, like, hey, I have this weird thing I'm making here. Does any expert in in any field whatsoever, does have anything interesting to say about this? So I'm sort of running out of time. Oh yeah, wait, this is a little bit about, this is our Redbow team. And this is how we work. So it's not a top-down approach where the researcher says, you have to make this because we want to research it. No, go make it, code monkey. No, it is an actual conversation between us where we make a little prototype, they go to test with it, they put it in the right context, like, okay, for us to test, this is what we need to get outcomes. Could you give us this kind of environment that would facilitate it? And one time we say yes, and the other time we say, well, we could, but that's a very boring environment, and that will not invoke sort of any emotional response from the player. So let's work together come up with a better proposal. And that's also been tremendously inspiring for both us and the scientists. There's a first paper out. You can download it, you can read it. I'm gonna skip past this game. You can find it on the site. And I just want to end with taking this opportunity to reach out to all the professionals in other fields here to come play with us. Because I think we found our approach. We are gameplay researchers. We don't make commercial products. We also don't make things that exist in their own little self-absorbed artistic space. Because we want to make things that change the world. Because play is deeply human. So, hereby I extend my invitation and also my thanks for listening.